The sound of tearing fabric silenced 60 soldiers. Captain Maya Chen stood motionless as her shirt was ripped from her back, exposing ink that would haunt every person watching. They laughed at her tattoo, called it a zoo souvenir, a wannabe warrior special. But one man in the back row stopped breathing. He recognized that hawk. He knew what the wings meant. And he knew that everyone who laughed had just made the worst mistake of their military careers. NATO Training Camp, Poland. Winter 2026. This is where legends reveal themselves. Before we begin, subscribe and follow this story to the end. Comment your city below so I can see how far this journey travels. The words hit like a slap across the face. Captain Chen, if you cannot maintain even basic uniform standards, perhaps this camp is not for someone of your caliber. Colonel Marcus Stone's voice carried across the parade ground, sharp, deliberate, designed to wound. 60 officers stood in formation, breath misting in the bitter cold. Dawn had not yet broken. The sky hung gray and heavy over the Polish landscape. At the center of the concrete square, a woman stood alone. Maya Chen, 25 years old, 5'3". Dark hair pulled tight against her skull. Eyes the color of storm clouds before lightning strikes. She did not move. She did not speak. The only sign of life was the subtle rise and fall of her chest. 4 counts in, 4 counts out, 4 counts hold. Repeat. Stone descended from the podium. His boots echoed against stone like hammer strikes. He circled her slowly, deliberately. A predator assessing prey he had already decided to destroy. Do you see this? He gestured to a small grease stain on her gray physical training shirt, barely visible in the dim light. This is what happens when we lower our standards. When we allow distractions. The way he said the word made it clear what he meant. The formation shifted uncomfortably, a few suppressed smirks. Someone in the third row whispered something that made his neighbor choke back a laugh. Maya's face remained blank. Her hands hung loose at her sides, but anyone watching closely would notice the white knuckles, the tendons standing out on her wrists, the careful, measured breathing of someone holding themselves together through sheer force of will. Stone stopped directly in front of her, close enough that she could smell his coffee breath, close enough that she could see the satisfaction dancing in his eyes. I have half a mind to send you back to whatever desk you crawled out from. He paused. Let the words sink in. Let them do their damage. But first, he raised his voice so everyone could hear. Corporal Webb, front and center. A mountain of a man stepped forward from the formation. Danny Webb, former college linebacker. 230 pounds of muscle packed onto a 6'4" frame. He had been grinning since the moment Stone called Maya's name. Sir, he barked. Stone waved dismissively toward Maya. The captain's undershirt. I need to verify it meets regulation. Inspect it. The order hung in the air like poison gas. Webb hesitated for half a second. His eyes flickered to Maya, then back to Stone. Something passed across his face. Uncertainty, maybe. Or anticipation. Then he moved behind her. Maya did not turn, did not tense. Just kept breathing. 4 counts. 4 counts. 4 counts. Webb grabbed the back of her collar. His fingers were rough, calloused. The hands of someone who had never learned gentleness. Ma'am, he said. His voice carried false courtesy that fooled no one. This is going to be quick. Then he yanked, hard. The sound of tearing fabric was shockingly loud in the morning stillness. The shirt ripped from neckline to mid-spine. The seam gave way like paper. Cold air hit Maya's exposed skin. Gasps rippled through the formation, but not because of the humiliation, because of what the torn shirt revealed. Ink, dark and intricate, covering the entire expanse of her back. A massive bird of prey. Wings spread wide from shoulder to shoulder. Talons curled like weapons. Beak sharp enough to tear flesh. Each feather rendered in stunning detail. Shaded to catch light and shadow in ways that made the bird seem alive. At the center of the bird's chest, small text that no one could quite read from where they stood. At the base of the wings, more text, a designation, a code. This was not a parlor tattoo. This was not something you got drunk on spring break. This was art. And something else. Something that made one man in the back row narrow his eyes. The laughter started almost immediately. Holy hell, that is one serious bird. Someone in the second row. Did she get that at a zoo? Another voice louder. Looks like she ran out of money halfway through. Snickers spreading like wildfire. Stone stepped back, arms crossed, a satisfied smirk playing on his lips. Well, Captain, I must admit, that is impressive, in a certain light. He tilted his head mockingly, studied the tattoo like it was a child's drawing. Tell me how much did that masterpiece cost, more than your signing bonus, I would wager. More laughter, louder now. The formation had relaxed. This was entertainment. This was sport. Maya still had not moved. Her back was fully exposed now. The torn shirt hanging off her shoulders like rags. The morning sun crept over the horizon, catching the ink, making the hawk seem to shimmer. Stone leaned in closer, squinting at the small text near the bird's chest. He could not quite make it out from where he stood. What does it say? Something inspirational, I bet. He raised his voice for the crowd. Love, laugh, live. The formation roared. Webb, still holding the torn fabric, grinned wide. Looks like one of those wannabe operator tattoos, sir. You know the kind. People get them when they watch too many action movies. Stone nodded sagely, playing to his audience. Ah, yes. The I wish I was a warrior special. I have seen a dozen of these, usually accompanied by a CrossFit membership and a lifted truck. He turned to address the formation, his voice carrying the weight of a man who believed himself untouchable. Let this be a lesson. You can dress yourself up. You can ink yourself from head to toe, but you cannot fake what matters. Competence, experience, respect. He looked back at Maya, his eyes cold, his smile cruel. Get yourself a new shirt, Captain, and next time try covering that artwork. This is a military installation, not a tattoo convention. He waved dismissively. Dismissed. Maya exhaled slowly. 4 counts out. She turned without a word, without looking at anyone. She walked toward the nearest building. Her back remained straight, her pace measured, her dignity somehow intact despite everything they had taken from her. Behind her, the whispers continued. Can you believe that? Probably got it done on spring break. I bet it is not even finished. Looks like she ran out of money. Who does she think she is? In the back row, Sergeant Major Thomas Reed did not join the laughter. He was 55 years old, 30 years in uniform, 3 combat deployments, 2 Purple Hearts. He had seen things, done things, and he recognized something the others did not. The style of that ink, the precision, the way it sat on her skin like a second identity. That was not civilian work. That was military art. The kind done in field hospitals or safe houses. The kind that carried meaning. The kind that was earned. He watched Maya disappear into the barracks. Then he glanced at the man standing next to him. Commander Nathan Cole, Navy SEAL. liaison for this joint training operation. 34 years old, built like a weapon, eyes that missed nothing. Cole was staring at the spot where Maya had stood. His expression unreadable, his jaw tight. "Something on your mind, Commander?" Reed asked quietly. Cole shook his head slowly. Her posture. When Webb grabbed her, she did not flinch, did not pull away, just stood there. So, Cole's voice dropped. "I have only seen that kind of stillness in people who have been through SEER training. Survival, evasion, resistance, escape. The kind of training reserved for operators who might be captured behind enemy lines." Reed raised an eyebrow. "You think she is something more than a liaison officer?" Cole did not answer. He just kept staring at the empty space where Maya had been, his mind working through possibilities that made his stomach tight. Inside the barracks bathroom, Maya stood in front of the cracked mirror. The torn shirt hung in tatters. The hawk stared back at her from the reflection. Wings framed by fluorescent light, talons sharp, eyes fierce. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a small metal coin. The surface was worn smooth from years of handling. On one side, an engraved emblem, a bird identical to the one on her back. On the reverse, a serial number, GH071114. She ran her thumb over it, felt the grooves, the weight, the history contained in that small piece of metal. Then she placed it carefully on the edge of the sink. Her reflection showed no emotion, no anger, no shame, just a woman breathing. 4 counts, 4 counts, 4 counts. Then for the first time that morning she smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was not a smile of relief or resignation. It was the smile of someone watching pieces fall into place, someone who knew something no one else did, someone who had been waiting for this moment for a very long time. She pulled on a fresh shirt, tucked the coin back into her pocket, and walked out. The rest of the day passed in a blur of pointed glances and whispered jokes. At breakfast, someone made a comment about flying away from responsibilities. Maya said nothing. She ate her eggs. During the morning briefing, an instructor asked if she had any other surprises hidden under there. The room laughed. Maya took notes. By noon, her name was already being used as a punchline. Pula Chen became shorthand for looking tough, but being useless. Lieutenant Kevin Drake, a signals officer with a talent for gossip and cruelty, started a group chat. The first message was a crude drawing of a bird with the caption, "NATO's newest mascot, the Do-Nothing Hawk." Within an hour, 25 people had joined. Maya saw none of it. She was too busy watching, observing, noting who laughed, who stayed silent, who looked uncomfortable, and most importantly, who looked afraid. Colonel Stone spent the afternoon in his office reviewing personnel files. He paused on Maya's folder. Captain Maya Chen, 25 years old. Commissioned through ROTC, Military Occupational Specialty Intelligence Analyst. Previous postings, Fort Bragg Ramstein Air Base. Current assignment NATO Liaison Officer. 0 combat deployments listed. 0 field operations. 0 anything interesting. He closed the file with a satisfied snap. Just another paper pusher trying to play soldier. He had seen 100 like her. They showed up, claimed they wanted to make a difference, then spent their entire careers pushing pixels and attending meetings. The tattoo was probably the most exciting thing she had ever done. He leaned back in his chair, fingers steepled. Mind working. The problem was not Maya herself. The problem was what she represented. A crack in the system. A reminder that standards were slipping, and Stone could not afford cracks. Not now. Not with the audit coming. Not with certain financial irregularities that needed to stay buried. Better to remove the distraction early. Make an example. Show everyone that competence mattered more than appearance. He picked up his phone. Dialed. Major Cross, I need you to do something for me. The next morning, Maya was reassigned. Mission 1, Tactical Close Quarters Battle Drill. Live fire exercise in the kill house. Stone made the announcement personally during the morning briefing. His voice carried the false warmth of a man setting a trap. Captain Chen, you will be joining Bravo team for today's CQB training. Since you have been so eager to prove yourself, this should be a perfect opportunity. He smiled. Thin. Cold. I have taken the liberty of arranging your equipment. Report to the range at 0800. The room went quiet. CQB drills were intense, high pressure, designed to push experienced operators to their limits. Live ammunition, split-second decisions, room after room of simulated threats and hostages. Putting a desk officer into that environment was either a test or a setup. Probably both. Maya nodded once. Yes, sir. At the range, she found her gear waiting. A rifle, old model, scratched stock. The sights were slightly off-center. Anyone could see it. A tactical vest, 2 sizes too large, hanging off her frame like a poncho. An earpiece that crackled with static even when turned off. Bravo team stood nearby, checking their own equipment. All men, all experienced, all watching her with expressions ranging from pity to amusement. Corporal Miles Chen spoke first. No relation. Just an unfortunate coincidence of names. Ma'am, no disrespect, but have you done this before? Maya adjusted the vest straps. I will manage. Young Chen exchanged glances with his teammates. The look said everything. This was going to be a disaster. Right. Well, he cleared his throat. The drill is simple. 3 room clear. Hostage targets mixed with threat targets. We go in as a team, neutralize threats, secure hostages. You will be rear security. Just stay behind us and do not shoot anyone by accident. The team leader, Staff Sergeant Travis Cole, stepped forward. Different Cole. Older, calmer. The kind of man who had seen enough to know when something was wrong. Captain, if you are not comfortable with this, there is no shame in sitting it out. This is advanced training. Maya met his eyes. I will manage. She said it the same way both times. Flat, certain. The voice of someone who knew something they did not. Travis Cole sighed. All right, your call. The buzzer sounded. The team stacked up at the entry point. Maya took her position at the rear. Rifle held in low ready. Finger outside the trigger guard. The door breached. Smoke. Shouting. The team flowed in like water. Each man moving to his sector. Covering angles. Calling targets. Maya followed. They cleared the first room in seconds. 2 threat targets down. No hostages. They moved to the second room. This was where things went wrong. The team entered fast. Too fast. They did not check the corner. A hidden threat target popped up, metal silhouette painted to look like a man with a weapon. Chen swung his rifle, but his angle was bad. He would hit a hostage target if he fired. He froze. Travis barked. Hold fire, Chen! Reposition! But there was no time. The drill was live. The clock was running. If they did not neutralize the threat in 3 seconds, the scenario counted as a failure. Travis cursed under his breath. Then Maya moved. Not forward. Not back. Lateral. 2 steps to the right, changing her angle completely. Her rifle came up smooth. 1 fluid motion, no hesitation, no wasted movement. 1 shot. Center mass. The threat target flipped backward. Chen stared at her, his mouth hanging open. How did you... But Maya was already moving to the 3rd room. Travis blinked, then followed. The 3rd room was chaos. 4 targets, 2 hostages, tight angles, impossible geometry. The team spread out, calling targets, trying to find clean shots. But the room was too small. Bodies blocked lines of fire. Someone would have to take a risky shot. Maya did not hesitate. She dropped to 1 knee, creating a lower angle that no one else had considered. Fired twice. 2 threat targets down. The hostages remained untouched. The drill ended. The range officer's voice crackled over the intercom. Clear. Time 47 seconds. New record for this facility. Silence. Then the officer added, previous record was 52 seconds, held by a SEAL instructor. The team stood frozen. Chen looked at his rifle, then at Maya, then back at his rifle, as if checking whether he was holding the same weapon she was. What the hell? Travis's expression had shifted, from annoyance to confusion to something that looked almost like fear. Captain, where did you learn to shoot like that? Maya safed her rifle, ejected the magazine. Practice. She set the weapon down and walked toward the exit. Behind her, the team exchanged stunned looks. Travis pulled out his phone, texted someone. Reed, watching from the observation booth, leaned forward. His coffee had gone cold. He had forgotten he was holding it. Rewind that. The technician complied. The footage played again in slow motion. Reed watched Maya's footwork, the way she moved. Pieing corners, low ready carry, perfect trigger discipline. Every movement economical, efficient, trained. This was not practice. This was muscle memory, the kind built over years, over deployments, over real gunfights where missing meant dying. He zoomed in on her hands, the way she gripped the rifle. Thumbs forward, elbows tucked. Exactly how Tier 1 operators held their weapons. Reed sat back slowly. Commander Cole, you need to see this. Cole arrived 10 minutes later. Reed played the footage without comment. Cole watched in silence, his eyes tracking every move Maya made. When it finished, he asked the technician to rewind to the moment she took the corner shot. Freeze frame. He studied the screen. Her stance, her posture, the angle of her head. That is a JSOC technique. Reed nodded. Joint Special Operations Command, the umbrella organization for Delta SEAL Team 6 and other elite units. Specifically, Cole continued, the way she indexes off the doorframe. That is taught at advanced CQB courses, the kind reserved for people who do hostage rescue for a living. Reed pointed at the screen. And the shot grouping. Did you see where her rounds landed? Cole had seen. Both targets hit within a 2-inch circle, at 15 feet, while kneeling, with a rifle that had misaligned sights. She compensated for the sight issue without test firing, Reed said. That means she knew it was off the moment she picked it up, which means she knows her gear, really knows it. They stared at the frozen image. Maya's face was calm, focused. No adrenaline spike, no excitement, just someone doing a job they had done 1,000 times before. Cole pulled out his phone. I am checking her file again. He scrolled through the digital records. Says here she is an intelligence analyst. No advanced weapons training listed. No CQB school. No combat deployments. Then where did she learn? Reed asked. Cole did not answer. At the range, Maya was alone. She had stayed behind after the team left, collecting her spent brass casings. An old habit, a ritual, something to do with her hands while her mind processed. She arranged them carefully on the concrete, 3 casings forming a small triangle. She stared at it for a moment, then scattered them with her boot. Old habits were dangerous. She turned to leave and nearly collided with Sergeant Carter, the range officer. He held a clipboard. His pen was tapping nervously against the paper. Captain Chen. That was impressive. Maya nodded once. Thank you. Carter hesitated, clearly wanting to say more, clearly uncertain whether he should. I have been running this range for 8 years. I have seen Green Berets, Rangers, SEALs, Delta. You just beat all their times. Maya's expression did not change. Favorable conditions. Wind was calm. Carter blinked. Wind, ma'am, this is an indoor range. Exactly. She walked past him. Carter stood there, pen frozen mid-tap, mind trying to process what had just happened. Then he looked down at his clipboard, at the target analysis. Every one of her shots had hit within the thoracic triangle, the kill zone. Not one stray round, not one wasted movement. He had seen thousands of shooters in 8 years, but only a handful shot like that. And all of them had one thing in common. They had seen real combat. He pulled out his radio. This is range control. I need to speak with Commander Cole. It is urgent. By evening, word of Maya's performance had spread through the camp like wildfire. But instead of respect, it sparked resentment. In the mess hall, Drake held court at a corner table. His audience hung on every word. So she got lucky on one drill. Big deal. Probably been practicing that specific scenario for weeks. Someone asked, how would she know which scenario? Drake waved dismissively, fork in hand, food forgotten. Insider information. She is liaison, right? Probably saw the drill plan ahead of time. Got a sneak preview. Murmurs of agreement. That made sense. That fit the narrative. Desk officer cheats to look good. Much easier to believe than the alternative. At another table, Webb chewed his food slowly. He had not been at the range, but he had heard. 47 seconds. Record time. It bothered him, not because he doubted the story, because he remembered. The way Maya had stood when he tore her shirt. Completely still, no fear, no anger. Like she was somewhere else entirely, like she had been through worse, and this was nothing. He pushed his tray away. Appetite gone. Across the hall, Maya sat alone. She ate methodically. Chicken, rice, vegetables. Proper nutrition, proper fuel. She did not look at the other tables, did not acknowledge the whispers. Just ate, 4 bites. Sip of water. 4 bites. Repeat. Reed watched her from the serving line. The way she ate. The way she sat. Even that was controlled. Disciplined. He had seen prisoners of war eat like that. People who had learned to make every meal count, because they did not know when the next one would come. That night in his quarters, Cole could not sleep. He kept thinking about the footage. About the way Maya moved. It reminded him of something. Someone. A memory from years ago. Hazy and incomplete. He had been 22, fresh out of basic underwater demolition SEAL training, assigned to a convoy escort mission in Syria. Standard job. Protect a VIP analyst traveling between safe houses. The analyst had been quiet, small, unassuming. Cole had barely paid attention to her, just another suit they had to babysit. Then the IED hit. The lead vehicle disintegrated. Fire, smoke, screaming. Cole's Humvee flipped. He remembered being trapped under twisted metal, bleeding, fading, the world going gray at the edges, and then hands, small hands, pulling him free. A voice. Calm. Steady. Stay with me. 4 counts in. 4 counts out. The analyst had dragged him to cover, applied pressure to his wounds, called for medevac, stayed with him until the helicopter arrived. Cole had passed out before he could see her face clearly. When he woke up in the field hospital, she was gone. The official report listed her as civilian contractor identity redacted for operational security. He had tried to find her, to thank her. But the trail went cold. He sat up in bed, heart pounding. 4 counts in, 4 counts out. That was what Maya whispered during her breathing exercises. The same cadence, the same rhythm. He had heard it when he passed her in the hallway. Cole grabbed his laptop, opened the classified personnel database, started searching. Civilian contractors, Syria 2018 to 2019. Redacted identities, cross-referenced with medical personnel, intelligence analysts, female, age range 22 to 28. The search returned 43 results. He narrowed it down. Added filters. Combat Casualty Care Certification. SEER training. Language skills. The list shrank. 20 results. 10, 5. Then one name appeared, with a notation that made his blood run cold. Captain Maya Chen. Assignment Ghost Hawk Intelligence Cell. Status Killed in Action, 2019. Record sealed. Cole stared at the screen. KIA. Killed in Action. But she was here, alive, walking around, breaking records, which meant either the database was wrong, or someone had faked her death. And people only faked their deaths when they were hunting something. Or someone. Cole closed the laptop. Tomorrow he would start asking questions. Tonight he would lie awake wondering what kind of ghost had just walked into their camp, and whether the people who laughed at her had any idea what they had unleashed. If you have ever been underestimated, you know the quiet power of proving them wrong. Hit that like button if you believe actions speak louder than words. And if you want to see how patience becomes power, stay with me. This story is just getting started. Cole spent the entire night digging through classified databases. By 400, his eyes burned. His coffee had gone cold 3 times. But he could not stop. Every file he opened led to another question. Every answer spawned 10 more mysteries. Ghost Hawk Intelligence Cell. The name kept appearing in redacted documents. Fragments of operations. Pieces of a puzzle that someone had deliberately scattered. Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan. Places where shadows did the work that daylight could not witness. He found mission logs with entire paragraphs blacked out. Personnel files that ended mid-sentence. After-action reports that referenced operators by numbers instead of names. And then he found the abort order. April 10th, 2019. Operation Nightfall. Target Konstantin Petrov, arms dealer, suspected of selling American military secrets to hostile nations. Ghost Hawk had been 48 hours from capturing him. Then Colonel Marcus Stone authorized an emergency abort. Reason listed intelligence compromise, source classified. 3 operators died during the failed extraction. One was listed as Maya Chen. Cole stared at the death certificate. It was thin, bare, no body recovered, no confirmation, just presumed dead following extraction failure. He printed everything, stuffed it into a folder. Then he went to find Reed. The sun was just breaking over the horizon when Cole knocked on Reed's door. The older man answered in his PT clothes, already awake, already alert. You look like hell, Commander. Cole pushed past him into the room. We need to talk. He spread the documents across Reed's desk, pointed at the key pieces, the abort order, the death certificate, the financial records he had pulled from a shell company registered in Stone's wife's maiden name. Reed studied each document in silence, his face growing darker with every page. $200,000, Cole said. Deposited 2 days before Stone aborted the mission. Origin traced to a holding company linked to Petrov's network. Reed looked up. You think Stone sold out his own people? I think Maya Chen is here to prove it. Reed sat down heavily. The chair creaked under his weight. A dead woman hunting the man who killed her team. Not dead, Cole said. Just waiting. They both turned to look out the window. Across the camp, Maya was already on the parade ground, running laps alone, her pace steady, relentless. Reed shook his head slowly. She has been here 2 weeks, taking abuse, letting them mock her, playing weak. Building a case, Cole said, gathering evidence, waiting for Stone to make a mistake. And we have been watching her get torn apart. Cole's jaw tightened. Not anymore. The morning briefing began at 0700. Stone stood at the podium reviewing the day's training schedule. His voice carried the confidence of a man who believed himself untouchable. Maya sat in the back row, taking notes, invisible. Drake leaned over to the officer next to him. Watch this. He raised his hand. Colonel Stone, sir. Question about today's signals exercise. Stone nodded. Go ahead, Lieutenant. Will Captain Chen be participating? I want to make sure we have someone who can actually read the manual this time. Laughter rippled through the room. Stone smiled. Captain Chen will be assigned to administrative support. I believe that better suits her skill set. More laughter. Maya did not react, did not look up from her notes, just kept writing. But Reed noticed something. Her pen had stopped moving. The page was blank. She was listening, recording every word. The signals exercise began at 0900. Specialist Vega, the unit's primary cryptographer, had been scheduled to decode an encrypted message from a forward operating unit in Poland. Standard communication. Routine work. Then Vega collapsed in the mess hall. Food poisoning. Severe. He was rushed to the medical unit vomiting and delirious. The message needed decoding within 20 minutes. It contained targeting coordinates for a live-fire drone exercise. If the coordinates were not decoded and transmitted in time, the exercise would be scrubbed. Stone saw an opportunity. He summoned Maya to the communications center, his smile barely concealing his satisfaction. Captain Chen, Specialist Vega is incapacitated. You are the senior intelligence officer present. This message needs decoding. He gestured at the screen. Blocks of seemingly random letters and numbers. Headquarters says they can send a replacement cryptographer, but it will take 45 minutes. We have 20. Can you handle it? The room was full of people, signals officers, technicians, all watching, all waiting to see her fail. Maya looked at the encrypted text, her expression neutral. I can try, sir. Stone's smile widened. Please do. He left the room. The clock started. Drake stood nearby, arms crossed, grinning. Captain, if you need help, just say so. No shame in admitting this is over your head. Maya did not respond. She pulled a chair to the keyboard, stared at the message. 10 seconds passed. 20. Someone whispered. She has no idea. Then Maya's fingers started moving. She pulled up a blank document, began writing. Not typing. Writing. Pen on paper. Old school. Caesar variant, she muttered under her breath. Rotating key. Timestamp seed. Drake frowned. What? Maya ignored him. She scribbled numbers, letters, cross-referencing them with the message timestamp. Her hand moved fast, confident, no hesitation. 3 minutes passed, then 5. The room was silent except for the scratch of pen on paper. At the 8-minute mark, Maya stopped writing. She typed a long string of text into the decryption software. Hit enter. The screen flickered. Then clear text appeared. Coordinates. Instructions. Mission parameters. All correct. The technician stared. How did you? The message is decoded. Maya stood. Transmit to the exercise coordinator. She handed the paper to Drake and walked out. Total time 11 minutes 42 seconds. Drake looked at the paper. It was covered in calculations. Cipher wheels. Frequency analysis. The kind of work that required years of cryptography training. Or field experience. He flipped the page. In the corner, barely visible, a small notation. 2 letters and a number. NH7. He stared at it. What did that mean? He took a photo with his phone, sent it to Reed. Found this on Chen's work. Any idea what NH7 means? Reed saw the message 30 seconds later. His stomach dropped. He forwarded it to Cole. Check this against your database search. Cole opened the image. Zoomed in. NH7. Nightingale 7. He pulled up the classified files. Searched for the notation. And there it was. Nightingale 7, call sign, Ghost Hawk Intelligence Cell Operator. Specialization signals. Intelligence and cryptography. Status killed in action, 2019. Cole's hands shook. He tried to access the full file. A red warning flashed across the screen. Access denied. Clearance insufficient. He escalated the request to his SEAL Command liaison. 10 minutes later, his phone rang. Commander Cole, this is Captain Ashford, JSOC Operations. You just flagged a file that has been sealed for 5 years. Why? Cole chose his words carefully. I believe one of the operators listed as KIA may still be alive, and currently operating under a false identity at this facility. Silence on the other end. Then, stay on this line. Do not discuss this with anyone. We are sending a team. Cole ended the call, looked at Reed. This just got bigger than us. 2 hours later, Maya was assigned to Mission 2. Medical Emergency Response Drill. Standard training. Nothing unusual. Except for what happened next. Private James Ortiz was 20 years old, eager, nervous, trying too hard to impress. During an obstacle course drill, he misjudged a wall climb. His hands slipped on the wet surface. He fell 12 feet onto gravel. The sound of breaking bone echoed across the training yard. Ortiz screamed. His left leg bent at an angle that made grown men look away. White bone protruded through skin. Compound fracture. Blood pooled beneath him, spreading fast. People froze. Someone yelled, "Medic!" But the medic was 300 yards away. Response time 5 minutes minimum. Ortiz kept screaming, his voice raw, desperate. His teammates crowded around, unsure what to do, panic spreading like a virus. Then Maya was there. She dropped to her knees beside Ortiz, her voice cutting through the chaos. "Ortiz, look at me." He did, eyes wild with pain and fear. "Breathe with me. 4 counts in." She demonstrated. Slow, steady. Ortiz tried to follow, gasping. 4 counts out. His breathing began to steady, just slightly. Maya was already moving. She pulled a small kit from her cargo pocket. Combat gauze. Sam Splint? Nitrile gloves? Where had she gotten those? Standard issue did not include that level of medical gear. She snapped the gloves on. This will hurt, but if I do not stabilize this now, you will lose the leg. Do you understand? Ortiz nodded, tears streaming. Maya worked fast. She packed the wound with gauze, applied pressure to stop the hemorrhaging. Her hands were rock steady. No hesitation, no wasted motion. She talked while she worked. Voice calm, clinical. The human body can lose about 15% of its blood volume before shock sets in. You are at maybe 8%. You are okay. You are going to be okay. Ortiz clung to her words like a lifeline. She splinted the leg, immobilized the fracture. Then she pulled out a radio. Not the standard issue training radio, something else, smaller, more sophisticated, military-grade encryption. She keyed the mic. This is NATO training actual. I need immediate medical evacuation. 1 casualty. Compound fracture left tibia fibula. Heavy bleeding now controlled. Patient stable but requires surgical intervention within 30 minutes. She rattled off a 9-line report. Precise. Perfect. Every piece of information delivered in the exact format used by combat medics. Line 1 grid coordinates. Line 2 radio frequency. Line 3 number of patients. Line 4 special equipment required. All the way through line 9. People stared. That was not something you learned in a classroom. That was something you learned by calling in real medevacs, under fire, with lives depending on your accuracy. The helicopter arrived 7 minutes later. Paramedics jumped out, assessed Ortiz, loaded him onto a stretcher. The lead paramedic paused, looked at the wound treatment, the gauze packing, the splint placement. Who did the initial stabilization? Someone pointed at Maya. The paramedic studied her work for a long moment. This is textbook. Better than textbook. You just saved his leg. Maybe his life. Maya stood, peeling off the bloody gloves. He did the hard part. He stayed calm. The paramedic shook his head. Ma'am, I have been doing this for 15 years. What you just did. That is tactical combat casualty care. TCCCC. The kind they teach special operations medics. Where did you train? Maya did not answer. She just walked away. Behind her, the crowd murmured. Something had shifted. The whispers sounded different now. Reed pushed through to the front. He looked at the blood-soaked gravel, the discarded medical packaging. His eyes narrowed. He picked up one of the glove wrappers. Standard military issue, but the lot number on the packaging was old. Pre-2020. These gloves had been in someone's personal kit for years, which meant Maya carried her own trauma supplies. Just in case. Reed folded the wrapper carefully, put it in his pocket. Evidence. At the field hospital, Ortiz was prepped for surgery. His mother was contacted. The prognosis was good. Full recovery expected. The attending surgeon reviewed the intake notes, frowned. Who performed the field stabilization? This is graduate-level trauma care. The nurse checked the chart. A Captain Chen, liaison officer. The surgeon read the notes again. Then he called the base commander. Sir, we may have a problem. Or an asset. I am not sure which. That afternoon, Maya was summoned to Major Owen Cross's office. Cross was the administrative officer. Thin, balding, the kind of man who lived for paperwork and regulations. Stone's right hand. He did not look up when she entered. Captain Chen, I have been asked to conduct a review of your medical certifications. Maya stood at attention. Sir. Cross pulled a file from his desk. According to your records, you have basic first aid training. Completed 6 years ago. Nothing advanced. Certainly nothing that would qualify you to perform emergency field medicine. He finally looked at her. Yet you just executed a 9-line medevac request and provided TCC-level care. Care that, according to the surgeon, saved Private Ortiz's leg and possibly his life. Maya said nothing. Cross leaned back. So either our records are incomplete, or you have skills that are not documented. Which is it? I learned from experience, sir. What experience? Previous postings. Cross's eyes narrowed. Your file lists you at Fort Bragg and Ramstein. Desk assignments. No field time. No deployments. Where exactly did you gain this experience? Maya met his gaze. Sometimes people learn skills outside official channels, sir. Cross stared at her for a long moment. Then he closed the file. I am going to pretend this conversation never happened. But understand something, Captain. People are starting to ask questions. And when people ask questions, they tend to find answers, whether you want them to or not. Maya nodded. Understood, sir. She left. Cross watched her go. Then he picked up his phone. Colonel Stone, we need to talk about Chen, immediately. That evening, the camp felt different. The laughter had stopped. The jokes had faded. Something was wrong, and everyone could feel it. Drake's group chat had gone quiet. The last message posted 3 hours ago had no replies. What if she is not just a liaison? The question hung there, uncomfortable, unanswered. In the mess hall, Webb sat alone, pushing food around his plate. He kept thinking about Maya's hands, the way they moved when she treated Ortiz. Fast, certain. The hands of someone who had done this before, many times. He thought about the moment he had ripped her shirt, the way she had not flinched, not reacted, just stood there breathing. 4 counts in, 4 counts out. He had seen that before, in survival training, the breathing technique they taught you for interrogation resistance. His fork clattered against the plate. What had he done? Across the room. Maya ate alone, same as always, methodical, controlled. But tonight, she was watching Stone. The colonel sat at the officer's table, laughing at something Cross had said. Relaxed. Confident. He had no idea. Maya finished her meal, stood, walked past Stone's table on her way out. She did not look at him, did not acknowledge him. But Stone looked at her, and for just a moment something flickered in his eyes. Fear. He covered it quickly, turned back to Cross, laughed louder. But Reed saw it, from his seat in the corner. Stone was scared, and scared men made mistakes. Later that night, Cole received a secure transmission. He read it 3 times. Then he found Reed. JSOC team arrives tomorrow, 0600, full briefing requested. Reed nodded slowly. It is happening. Whatever she is planning, it is happening soon. They looked out the window. Maya's quarters were dark, but they knew she was not sleeping. Ghosts did not sleep. They waited. Reed turned back to Cole. What do we do? Cole's jaw tightened. We watch, we document, and when the time comes, we choose a side. You have already chosen. Cole did not deny it. Across the camp in her darkened room, Maya sat on her bunk, the challenge coin in her hand, the hawk catching moonlight through the window. She thought about the 3 operators who died in 2019. Martinez, Thompson, Reyes, her team. her family. She thought about Stone's face in the mess hall, the flicker of fear he could not hide. He knew something was wrong. He just did not know what. Tomorrow would change that. Tomorrow the hunt would end. She placed the coin on her nightstand, lay back on the bed, closed her eyes. 4 counts in, 4 counts out, 4 counts hold. Sleep came slowly, but when it came, she dreamed of hawks circling in a darkening sky, waiting for the moment to strike. She saved a life today using skills that should not exist in her file. What do you think her real story is? Drop your theory in the comments. And if this has you hooked, share it with someone who loves a good mystery. Let us figure this out together. The extraction drill was scheduled for 0600. Maya knew it was a trap the moment she saw the assignment sheet. Live scenario. Simunition rounds. 5-person team extracting a high-value target from a fortified compound. Standard training exercise. Except nothing about this was standard. Stone had personally selected the team. Webb, Chen, Novak, Torres, and Maya. 4 experienced operators, and 1 desk officer who was supposed to fail. Maya studied the briefing documents, the compound layout, the enemy force disposition, the extraction route. Something was wrong. The map showed 12 enemy role players, light resistance, easy scenario, but the building assignments did not match. Too many positions marked, too many angles covered. This was not light resistance. This was an ambush. Stone wanted her to fail publicly, spectacularly, in a way that would justify removing her from the camp permanently. He did not know she had been waiting for exactly this moment. At 0545, the team assembled at the staging area. Webb checked his weapon. His movements were mechanical. He had not looked at Maya directly since the medical incident. Guilt did that to people. Chen loaded his magazines. Professional. Focused. He had stopped making jokes about her 3 days ago. Novak and Torres stood apart, whispering, uncertain. Maya approached them. Something on your mind? Novak hesitated, then spoke quietly. Ma'am, this scenario does not feel right. The force ratio is off, way off. Torres nodded. I pulled training records. This compound has never been used for a 5-person extraction. Minimum team size is 8, always. Maya looked at both of them. What are you saying? Someone wants this to go wrong, Novak said. And I think you are the target. Maya did not deny it. Will that change how you operate? Novak straightened. No, ma'am. We follow the mission. We follow our team leader. Torres added, but you should know. We are watching your back. Whatever happens in there. Maya nodded once. Appreciated. She walked to where Webb stood alone. He tensed as she approached. Corporal? Ma'am. The map is wrong. You know that. Webb's jaw tightened. He did not answer. The question is whether you knew before today. Webb finally looked at her. His eyes were haunted. I did not know about this. I swear. Stone told me the previous drills were just about testing you, seeing if you could handle pressure. He never said anything about setting me up to fail. Webb's silence was answer enough. Maya stepped closer. When we go in there, you have a choice. Follow orders that will get people hurt, or follow training that will get us out alive. Choose wisely. She walked away. Webb watched her go, his hands trembling. At 0600, the drill began. The team stacked up at the entry point, Webb on point, Chen behind him, Maya in the middle. Novak and Torres covering rear. Standard formation. Standard approach. Nothing about what happened next was standard. Webb breached the door. The team flowed in. Immediately, everything went wrong. The interior layout did not match the map. Hallways appeared where walls should be. Stairs descended where the floor should be flat. Someone had reconfigured the entire building. Webb cursed. Map is wrong. Adjust on the fly. They moved deeper. First room clear. Second room clear. Then the ambush hit. Role players emerged from everywhere. Not 12, not 15, at least 20. Simunition rounds cracked through the air. Paint splattered against walls, against bodies. Torres took 3 hits to the chest. I am out. Novak went down seconds later. 2 shots to the back. Dead. Chen emptied his magazine. Dropped 1 target. 2. Then his weapon clicked empty. I am dry. Webb took a round to the shoulder. He stumbled, kept moving, but his rifle arm was compromised. 4 of 5 team members down or disabled. Only Maya remained fully operational, and they were surrounded. Webb looked at her, panic in his eyes. We need to call it. Abort the drill. Maya did not move. Her eyes scanned the room, the angles, the positions, the timing. Radio check, she said. Webb keyed his mic. Static. Nothing but static. Comms are jammed, Chen said. Someone is blocking our frequency. Of course they were. This was not a training exercise. This was an execution. Maya made her decision. She reached into her tactical vest, pulled out a secondary radio. Different frequency. Military-grade encryption, the kind that should not exist on a training exercise. Webb stared. What is that? Maya did not answer. She keyed the mic. Her voice changed. No longer hesitant. No longer quiet. Flat. Cold. The voice of someone who had done this 100 times before. Nightingale 7 to Overwatch. Request immediate extract. Grid November, Whiskey 4721. 5 personnel plus 1 HVT. Heavy contact. Authentication Tango Hotel November. Silence. Webb's mouth hung open. What the hell did you just... Then the radio crackled. A voice. Male. Calm. Professional. Nightingale 7. Authentication confirmed. QRF inbound. ETA 90 seconds. Mark your position. Maya pulled a chemlight from her vest. Cracked it. Green glow filled the room. Position marked. Standing by. She lowered the radio. The team stared at her. Chen found his voice first. Ma'am, what just happened? Who did you call? Maya's eyes never stopped scanning. Help. What kind of help has a 90-second response time? Maya did not answer. 60 seconds passed. The role players held their positions, uncertain. Something had changed. They could feel it. Then the wall exploded. Not the door. The wall. 4 operators breached through the concrete like it was paper. Full tactical gear. Night vision. Suppressors. No unit markings. No identification. They moved like ghosts. 2 role players tried to raise their weapons. They were on the ground before they could aim. The lead operator swept the room. Identified the team. Moved to Maya. Nightingale 7, extraction authorized. Move now. Maya grabbed Webb. On your feet, Corporal. Webb stumbled up, still staring at the operators. Who are these people? Does it matter? They moved. The operators cleared a path through the building, room by room. Corner by corner. Professional. Efficient. Ruthless. In 73 seconds, they reached the exterior. A black helicopter sat on the training field. Rotors spinning. No markings. The lead operator turned to Maya. "Transport is ready. JSOC wants a full debrief, immediately." Maya nodded, then looked at her team. "Get to medical. All of you. This drill is over." Webb grabbed her arm. "Captain, what is happening?" "Who are you?" Maya looked at his hand on her arm, then at his face. Someone who should have died 5 years ago. She pulled free, walked toward the helicopter. Webb watched her go, his mind reeling, his world tilting. Behind him, Novak whispered, "Did we just get rescued by actual special forces?" Chen shook his head slowly. "I do not think they were here for us." The helicopter lifted off, disappeared into the morning sky, and everything changed. The command center went into lockdown within minutes. Reed made 3 calls, Cole made 4. Within an hour, the entire camp was sealed. No one in, no one out. Stone was summoned to the briefing room. He arrived angry, confused, demanding answers. "What the hell is going on? I have a training exercise to supervise." General Patricia Hartley stood at the head of the table. 54 years old. Gray hair pulled back severely. 3 combat deployments. 2 Purple Hearts. JSOC liaison. Not someone who tolerated games. "Colonel Stone, sit down." It was not a request. Stone sat. Hartley gestured to the screen behind her. Footage from the extraction drill played. The ambush. The chaos. Maya's radio call. "Nightingale 7 to Overwatch. Request immediate extract." Stone's face went pale. Hartley paused the footage. "Do you recognize that call sign, Colonel?" Stone's voice was steady, controlled. "Should I?" Nightingale 7 was assigned to a Ghost Hawk intelligence cell operator in 2018. Specialization in signals intelligence and cryptography. Hartley leaned forward. "The operator was declared killed in action following an operation that was aborted in April 2019. An abort that you authorized, Colonel." Stone's hands clenched under the table. "That operation was compromised. Intelligence indicated enemy forces had been alerted to our presence. I made the call to pull out. Standard procedure." 3 operators died during that extraction, Hartley said. "Because air support was pulled without warning. Because exfiltration assets were redirected. Because someone decided that mission was expendable." Stone stood. "Are you accusing me of something, General?" Hartley did not blink. "I am asking you to explain why Captain Maya Chen, listed as KIA for 5 years, is currently walking around your training camp, and why she seems very interested in your command decisions." The room went silent. Cole stepped forward, placed a folder on the table. "I accessed Ghost Hawk records this morning. Required JSOC override. The operation abort in 2019 happened 48 hours before the team was supposed to capture an arms dealer named Konstantin Petrov." He opened the folder. "The abort order came directly from you, Colonel. Reason listed intel compromise, but there is no supporting documentation, no source, no evidence that the operation was actually blown." Stone's jaw tightened. "My sources were confidential. I was not required to disclose." Reed spoke next. "Your sources were paid." He held up a printed document. "I pulled financial records for a shell company registered in your wife's maiden name. April 8, 2019. 2 days before the abort order. Deposit of $200,000. Origin a holding company linked to Petrov's network." The room went cold. Stone's face shifted from pale to red. That is absurd. You have no proof that money was... The transfer code matches deposits to 3 other officers who were later convicted of corruption, Cole said quietly. Same network, same pattern, same buyer. Hartley stepped forward. Colonel Stone, you are hereby relieved of command pending investigation. Military police are waiting outside. You will surrender your credentials and accompany them to detention. Stone looked around wildly, searching for allies, finding none. This is insane. You are basing this on circumstantial evidence and the word of someone who is supposed to be dead. Not just her word, Cole said. He pulled out his phone, played an audio file. Stone's voice, clear and unmistakable. Captain Chen needs to go. I do not care how you do it. Reassign her. Fail her. Make her life miserable until she requests transfer. Just get her out of my camp. Cross's voice on the other end. Sir, if I may ask why the urgency, she has not caused any real problems. Stone again. Because if she stays, people will start asking questions, and I cannot afford questions right now. The recording ended. Hartley raised an eyebrow. That conversation took place 4 days ago, shortly after Captain Chen arrived. Care to explain why a simple liaison officer warranted that level of concern? Stone said nothing. His hands were shaking. Cole continued. Captain Chen has been recording everything since she arrived. Every interaction, every order, every attempt to sabotage her performance. She came here knowing someone had sold out Ghost Hawk. She just did not know who, Reed added. So she set a trap. Let herself be humiliated, let herself look weak, and waited to see who would panic. Hartley's voice was ice. You panicked, Colonel, spectacularly. Stone found his voice. If she is really Ghost Hawk, then she is a threat, a security risk. She should be detained, not... She is a federal investigator, Hartley cut him off. Operating under JSOC authority, with full authorization to conduct this inquiry. You, on the other hand, are under arrest. The door opened. 2 military police officers entered. Stone looked at them, at the handcuffs, at his career dissolving in real time. This is a mistake, he whispered. No, Hartley said. Selling out your own people was the mistake. This is the consequence. They led him away. The door closed. Silence filled the command center. Reed exhaled slowly. Well, that escalated. Cole was staring at the monitor, at Maya's frozen image from the extraction footage. We need to find her. I need to talk to her. Hartley nodded. She is in debriefing room 3, waiting for you. For me, Hartley's expression softened, just slightly. She requested you specifically, Commander, said you earned the right to hear the truth. Cole looked at Reed, then walked toward the door. The debriefing room was small. Bare walls, single table, 2 chairs. Maya sat facing the door, still in her tactical gear, still calm, still controlled. Cole entered, closed the door behind him. For a long moment, neither spoke. Then Maya broke the silence. You figured it out. The convoy, Syria, 2018. Cole sat down across from her. You were the analyst, the one who pulled me out of the burning vehicle. Maya nodded. You were 22, bleeding out, fading fast. I did not think you would make it. But you stayed. I always stay. Cole leaned forward. Why go through all of this, the humiliation, the abuse, weeks of letting them tear you apart? Why not just present the evidence and arrest Stone from the start? Maya was quiet for a moment. Then she spoke. Because arresting him does not fix the system. It just removes one corrupt officer. I needed to show that the system allowed this to happen, that someone could target an officer, sabotage their career, destroy their reputation, and no one questioned it. Her voice hardened. Everyone saw me get torn down. Everyone watched. And most did nothing. That is the real problem. Stone is just a symptom. The disease is the culture that let him get away with it for so long. Cole absorbed her words. So this was not just about catching Stone. It was about exposing the infrastructure that enabled him, and creating a record, so the next person who speaks up has evidence that the system failed before, and that it got fixed. Cole sat back. You planned this from the beginning. Every detail. I had 5 years to plan. 5 years of being dead. 5 years of watching people like Stone get promoted while my teammates rotted in unmarked graves. Her eyes met his. Martinez, Thompson, Reyes. Those were their names. The 3 who died because Stone sold our location. They had families, lives, futures, and he traded all of it for $200,000. Cole's throat tightened. I am sorry. Do not be sorry. Be better. Make sure it never happens again. Silence. Then Cole asked the question he had been carrying since that day in Syria. When you pulled me out, you said something. I have never forgotten it. Maya waited. You said, not today, not on my watch. What did you mean? Maya looked at her hands, scarred, calloused. The hands of someone who had saved lives and taken them. I meant exactly what I said. That day was not going to be your last, because I decided it would not be, because some things are worth fighting for, even when the odds say you should not. Cole felt something shift in his chest. Something that had been broken for years, finally settling into place. Thank you, he said. For everything. Maya nodded. You turned out okay, Commander. That is all the thanks I need. She stood. Now, I have paperwork to sign, reports to file, and a network to burn down. Cole stood with her. What do you mean? Maya walked to the door, paused with her hand on the handle. Stone was just a customer. Someone was selling, and I intend to find them. She opened the door. Ramstein Air Base, Germany. That is where the trail leads next. Cole watched her go, and he understood. The hunt was not over. It was just beginning. Justice took years. Justice took patience. Justice took someone willing to endure hell to expose the truth. Do you think you could have done it? Hit that like button if this story moved you, and subscribe because what comes next will change everything. The news spread through the camp like wildfire. Colonel Stone arrested. Military police everywhere. Lockdown in effect. By noon, everyone knew something massive had happened. By evening, rumors had mutated into a dozen different versions of the truth. But one thing remained consistent across every whispered conversation. Captain Maya Chen was not who they thought she was. Webb sat alone in his quarters, staring at the wall. His hands had not stopped shaking since the extraction drill. He kept replaying it. The moment Maya pulled out that radio, the way her voice changed. The operators who breached through solid concrete like it was cardboard. And her words. Someone who should have died 5 years ago. A knock at his door made him jump. It is open. Reed entered, closed the door behind him. Corporal, we need to talk. Webb stood, came to attention out of habit. Sergeant Major? Reed waved him down. At ease. This is not official. He pulled up a chair, sat across from Webb. You tore her shirt, day 1. On Stone's orders. Webb's face crumpled. I know, God I know. I have not slept since. Why did you do it? Webb was silent for a long moment. Then the words came out. Rushed. Desperate. Stone told me she was trouble, said she had connections, that she was trying to expose training deficiencies to make him look bad. He said if we pushed her hard enough, she would request transfer, and the problem would go away. Reed listened without expression. I did not question it, Webb continued. He was my commanding officer. I trusted him. And she looked so weak, so harmless. I thought it would not matter. It always matters. Webb's voice broke. I know that now. I watched her save Ortiz's life. I watched her decode that message in 11 minutes. I watched her call in special forces like she was ordering pizza. And I realized... He stopped. Swallowed hard. I realized I helped destroy someone who was better than any of us. Because I was told to. Because I did not think. Reed stood, walked to the window. She is not pressing charges. Webb looked up. What? General Hartley offered. Maya declined. Said you were following orders from someone you trusted. Said that does not make it right, but it does make it understandable. Webb's eyes filled with tears. Why would she do that, after everything I did? Reed turned back. Because she is not interested in punishing foot soldiers. She is hunting the people who give the orders, the ones who profit from corruption, the ones who trade lives for money. He moved toward the door. You have a choice now, Corporal. Live with what you did, or do something about it. What can I do? Reed opened the door. Testify. Tell the investigators everything Stone ordered you to do, every detail, every conversation. Help her finish what she started. He left. Webb sat in the silence. Then he reached for his phone. Dialed the JAG office number. This is Corporal Danny Webb. I need to make a statement. About Colonel Stone. About everything. Across the camp, Drake was having a very different reaction. He had deleted the group chat, scrubbed his phone of every joke, every meme, every cruel comment about Maya. It would not be enough. He knew that. Someone knocked on his door. He opened it to find Chen standing there. We need to talk. Drake let him in. If this is about... It is about survival. Chen cut him off. Yours and mine. We both said things, did things, things that are now going to be part of an official investigation. Drake's stomach dropped. You think they will come after us? I think we were stupid, and I think the only way out is forward. Chen sat down, pulled out his phone. I unlocked Stone's encrypted emails from the server, all of them, communications with Cross, with contractors, with people outside the chain of command. Drake stared. How did you... I am a signals officer. It is literally my job. Chen's voice was hard. Stone used me to monitor communications. I thought I was helping catch security leaks. Turns out I was helping him cover his tracks. What are you going to do? Chen stood. Turn it all over. Every email, every file, every dirty secret he thought was buried. He walked to the door. Paused. Maya Chen spent 5 years planning this. 5 years pretending to be dead. 5 years waiting for the right moment. And we spent 2 weeks making her life hell because someone told us to. His voice cracked. She saved Ortiz's leg. Maybe his life. And we called her a mascot. We laughed at her tattoo. He could not finish. Drake spoke quietly. What was the tattoo, really? Chen looked back. Ghost Hawk. It was a unit insignia. The operators who wear it completed 3 successful covert missions. The people who earn that ink are the ones who go where no one else can. Who do what no one else will. He opened the door. She was a hero, and we treated her like garbage. He left. Drake sat alone in the dark. Then he pulled out his phone, started typing. A message to Maya, direct, simple. Captain Chen, I have no right to ask for forgiveness, but I want you to know that I will cooperate fully with the investigation. And I am sorry For everything. He hit send. 3 hours later, a reply came. Received. Thank you for your honesty. Actions speak louder than apologies. Show me who you really are. Drake read it 5 times. Then he got to work. That evening, Maya was summoned to General Hartley's office. The general sat behind her desk, files spread across the surface, a bottle of whiskey and 2 glasses to one side. Close the door, Captain. This is off the record. Maya obeyed, sat across from Hartley. The general poured 2 drinks, pushed one across. You earned this. Maya took the glass. Did not drink. Hartley studied her. 5 years. You spent 5 years building this case, living as someone else, watching from the shadows. That takes a special kind of patience. Patience is just anger that learned to wait. Hartley smiled. Thin, knowing. I read your real file, the one behind the redactions. 12 covert operations, 9 successful target acquisitions, 3 combat rescues. You pulled Commander Cole out of that convoy when you were 23 years old. Most operators twice your age would have run. Running was not an option. It is always an option. You just chose not to take it. Hartley leaned back. JSOC wants to offer you a position. Instructor at SEER School, teaching survival and resistance techniques to the next generation of operators. You have proven you can endure anything. We need people like you training others. Maya finally took a sip of the whiskey. Let it burn. I appreciate the offer, ma'am, but I am not done. Done with what? Maya set the glass down. Stone was one man. One customer in a network that spans multiple bases, multiple countries, multiple years. The money that paid him came from somewhere, went to others. There are people still in uniform right now who sold out their own soldiers for profit. Her voice hardened. I have names, locations, financial trails, and I intend to follow every single one. Hartley was quiet for a long moment. That kind of operation requires authorization, resources, support. I know. And you are asking me for them. I am telling you I will do it anyway, with or without support. The only question is whether JSOC wants to help or stay out of my way. Hartley laughed. Genuine. Surprised. You have guts, Captain. I will give you that. She opened a drawer, pulled out a folder. This arrived 2 hours ago. Encrypted transmission from JSOC Command. She slid it across the desk. Maya opened it, read the contents. Her expression did not change, but her hands tightened on the paper. Phase 2, she said quietly. Operation Nightfall continues. You have authorization to pursue the network. Full JSOC backing. Whatever resources you need. Hartley stood, walked around the desk. But Maya, this is personal for you. I understand that. Martinez, Thompson, Reyes, they were your family, and Stone helped kill them. She put a hand on Maya's shoulder. Do not let vengeance consume you. Justice and revenge are not the same thing. One builds, the other destroys. Choose wisely. Maya looked up at her. I chose a long time ago, ma'am. I chose justice. Even when it would have been easier to disappear, even when every part of me wanted to put a bullet in Stone's head and walk away. She stood. I did not do this for revenge. I did it so no one else has to lose what I lost, so no other team gets sold out by someone they trusted, so the next Maya Chen does not have to spend 5 years pretending to be dead. Hartley nodded slowly. Then go. Finish what you started. And when it is done, there is a teaching position waiting, if you want it. Maya walked to the door. Thank you, General, for everything. Thank me by coming back alive. Maya left. Later that night, Cole found her at the motor pool. She was loading a vehicle, spare clothes, medical supplies, communications equipment, everything she would need for the next phase. "You are leaving." It was not a question. Maya did not stop packing. Early morning, before sunrise. Cole leaned against the vehicle. "Ramstein." "That is the first stop. There are 3 more after that." "How long?" Maya paused, finally looked at him. "However long it takes. Weeks. Months. There is no timeline for this kind of work." Cole was quiet for a moment. Then he reached into his pocket, pulled out a small object. A challenge coin. SEAL Team insignia on one side, his unit number on the other. "Take this." Maya looked at the coin. "I cannot accept. You saved my life. 7 years ago, in a burning vehicle, you pulled me out when you could have left me. You stayed when running would have been smarter. This coin is the only thing I have that means anything." He pressed it into her hand. "Take it. And when things get dark, when you are alone and exhausted, and wondering if any of it matters, look at it. Remember that you made a difference, that someone is alive because of you." Maya closed her fingers around the coin. The metal was warm from his hand. "Cole?" "Nathan. My name is Nathan." Maya smiled. Faint. Real. "Nathan, thank you." Cole stepped back. "Promise me something." "What? When this is over, when you have burned the whole network down, take a break. Rest. Let someone else carry the weight for a while." Maya did not answer. Cole sighed. "You are not going to promise, are you?" "I do not make promises I cannot keep." She finished loading the vehicle, closed the rear door. "But I will try. When it is done. If there is anything left of me." Cole nodded. It was enough. "Good luck, Captain." "Maya. My name is Maya." She climbed into the driver's seat, started the engine. Cole stepped back. Through the window, Maya looked at him one last time. "Nathan, you turned out okay. That matters. More than you know." She put the vehicle in gear and drove away. Cole stood in the darkness, watching the taillights fade. Behind him, Reed appeared. "She is going to burn down the whole network." Cole nodded. "Yes. Think she will survive?" Cole thought about the convoy, the fire, the small hands pulling him from wreckage, the voice counting breaths while the world exploded around them. "If anyone can, it is her." Reed grunted. "I hope you are right." They stood in silence as the last of the taillights disappeared. Inside the vehicle, Maya drove east. The challenge coin sat on the seat beside her. Cole's coin on one side, her own Ghost Hawk coin on the other. 2 pieces of metal. 2 lives saved. 2 promises kept. She thought about Martinez, about Thompson, about Reyes. She thought about Stone's face when the handcuffs closed around his wrists, the fear, the disbelief. The moment he realized it was all over. That moment had been worth 5 years of waiting. But it was not enough. The network was still out there, still operating, still trading lives for profit. And she was going to find every last one of them. Her phone buzzed. Encrypted message. She glanced at the screen. "Tower 4 sends regards. Targets confirmed. Ramstein Air Base, Germany. 3 subjects. Logistics, contracting, financial administration. Evidence secured. Awaiting your arrival." Below the text, 3 attachments. She would review them later. when she was closer, when the operation was live. For now she drove. The road stretched ahead, dark and endless. Behind her a camp full of people who would never forget what they had witnessed, who would never look at a quiet officer the same way again. She had taught them something, all of them, that appearances deceive, that silence is not weakness, that patience is its own kind of power, and that some ghosts do not rest until their work is done. Maya pressed the accelerator. The engine roared, and the night swallowed her whole. Back at the camp, Webb finished his statement to the investigators. 3 hours of testimony. Every order Stone had given, every conversation, every detail he could remember. When it was done, the JAG officer closed his notebook. "Thank you, Corporal. This will be valuable." Webb nodded, exhausted, empty. "What happens now?" "Now we build a case. Stone will face court-martial. Others may follow depending on what the investigation uncovers." Webb stood, walked to the door, then stopped. "The captain, Maya, will she be recognized?" "For what she did?" The JAG officer hesitated. "That is above my pay grade, but between us she should be. What she accomplished the way she did it, that is the kind of work that deserves acknowledgement." Webb nodded, left. He walked through the camp, past the parade ground where Maya had stood while he tore her shirt, past the mess hall where they had laughed at her, past the range where she had broken every record. He stopped at her quarters. The door was open. The room was empty. On the small desk, a single object remained. The Ghost Hawk challenge coin. Webb picked it up, turned it over in his hands. The hawk stared back at him, wings spread, talons curled, ready to strike. Beneath the image, words etched in metal. 07 Sigma, silent, lethal, forgotten. But she was not forgotten. Not by the people she saved, not by the people she hunted, not by the system she was forcing to change. Webb placed the coin back on the desk, exactly where she had left it. A message, a reminder, a promise. Ghost Hawk never missed a target, especially justice. She left behind everything except her mission. One coin, one purpose, one relentless pursuit of truth. What would you sacrifice for justice? Hit that like button if you are still with her. And stay close, because the final chapter will change everything. Ramstein Air Base, Germany. 72 hours later. Maya moved through the shadows like she belonged there. Because she did. The base was massive. Thousands of personnel. Hundreds of buildings. A perfect place to hide corruption in plain sight. Her targets were 3. Major Victoria Hale, Logistics Officer. Captain Dennis Mercer, Contracting Specialist. Lieutenant Colonel Frank Bishop, Financial Administrator. 3 links in a chain that stretched back years. 3 people who had profited while soldiers died. She had spent the last 3 days watching, learning their routines, their habits, their weaknesses. Hale was nervous, jumping at shadows. She knew something was wrong. Mercer was arrogant, still believing he was untouchable, still spending money he should not have. Bishop was the dangerous one. Calm, calculated, the kind of man who would burn evidence and disappear at the first sign of trouble. Maya needed to move fast, before they scattered. Her phone buzzed. Encrypted message from JSOC. Assets in position. Awaiting your signal. Tower 4 confirms green light authorized. She typed back. Initiating phase 2. Hale first, 20 minutes. She pocketed the phone, checked her weapon, moved. Major Victoria Hale was working late. She always worked late now. Sleep had become impossible. Every creak made her flinch. Every unexpected email made her heart race. Stone's arrest had changed everything. She had seen the news, read the reports, watched his career implode in real time. And she knew she was next. The money trail would lead here eventually, to her office, to her accounts, to the decisions she had made when the payments started arriving. She should run. She knew that. Pack a bag, disappear. But where would she go? How far could she run from people who could find anyone? A knock at her door made her jump. "It is open." The door swung inward. A woman stepped inside. Small, dark hair, storm-gray eyes. Hale did not recognize her at first. Then she did. Her blood turned to ice. "Captain Chen?" Maya closed the door behind her. "Major Hale, we need to talk." Hale's hand moved toward her desk drawer, toward the weapon she kept hidden there. "I would not do that." Maya's voice was calm, conversational, but her eyes said something different. Hale's hand froze. "How did you get on base? Security should have..." "Security sees what they expect to see. A liaison officer with valid credentials. Nothing suspicious." Maya sat down across from Hale. Casual, relaxed, like they were having coffee. "You know why I am here?" Hale swallowed hard. "I do not know what you are talking about." April 2019. Ghost Hawk Intelligence Cell. Operation Nightfall. You handled logistics for the extraction that never happened. Hale's face went white. "You redirected the helicopters, changed the fuel allocations, made sure our team had no way out when Stone gave the abort order." Maya leaned forward. 3 operators died because of those logistics changes. Martinez, Thompson, Reyes, my teammates, my friends. Hale's voice cracked. "I was following orders. Stone said, Stone paid you $40,000, deposited 3 days before the operation." Hale closed her eyes, tears streaming down her face. "I did not know they would die. I swear." Stone said it was just about scrubbing a mission, protecting assets. "I did not know. You did not ask." The words hung in the air. Sharp. Final. Maya stood. "You have 2 choices, Major. Cooperate fully with the investigation. Names, dates, count numbers, everything you know about the network. Or spend the next 20 years in a military prison wondering if it was worth $40,000. Hale looked up. Broken. Beaten. "If I cooperate, what happens to me?" "That depends on how useful your information is. But I can tell you this, the people who talk first get the best deals. The people who stay silent get made examples of." She walked to the door. "You have 1 hour to decide. Use it wisely." Maya left. Hale sat alone, trembling. Then she reached for her phone, started typing. Everything she knew. Everything she had done. Everything she had hidden for 5 years. The first domino fell. Captain Dennis Mercer was at the officers' club when they found him. 3 drinks in, laughing with friends, living large on money that was not his. He did not see Maya until she was standing right next to him. "Captain Mercer." "A word." Mercer looked up, annoyed at the interruption. "Do I know you?" "You are about to." And she showed him her credentials. JSOC Special Investigations. The color drained from his face. "What is this about somewhere private, now?" Mercer excused himself from his friends, followed Maya to a quiet corner. Listen, whatever this is, I am sure there has been some mistake. Konstantin Petrov. Mercer stopped talking. You processed the contracts that allowed his shell companies to operate on American bases. Shipping manifests, equipment transfers, all funneled through your office. Maya pulled out her phone, showed him the evidence. Bank records, transaction logs, his signature on documents that should never have existed. I have been building this case for 5 years, Captain. You are not a big fish. You are bait. The question is whether you want to help me catch the real targets or go down with them. Mercer's arrogance crumbled. They will kill me. If I talk, they will try. But I have kept myself alive for 5 years against people who wanted me dead. I can do the same for you, if you cooperate. Mercer looked at the evidence, at Maya, at the life he had built on lies and blood money. What do you need? Bishop. How do I get to him? Mercer hesitated, then spoke. He has a safe in his home office, physical copies of everything, account numbers, names, the whole network. He keeps it as insurance. Where? Mercer told her. Address, security codes, everything. Maya stood. Stay here. Order another drink. Act normal. In 2 hours, this will all be over. She walked away. Mercer watched her go, then ordered a whiskey with shaking hands. The second domino fell. Lieutenant Colonel Frank Bishop knew something was wrong. He felt it the moment he walked into his house. A disturbance in the air. A presence that should not be there. He reached for his sidearm. I would not. Maya stepped out of the shadows. Weapon raised. Steady. Bishop froze. Captain Chen, I wondered when you would come. Maya moved closer. You know who I am? I know what you are. Ghost Hawk, Nightingale 7, the operative who was supposed to die in Syria. Bishop smiled. Cold. Calculated. You should have stayed dead. A lot of people have told me that. Yet here you are. Here I am. Bishop lowered his hand from his weapon. Slowly, deliberately. What do you want, confession evidence? You already have enough to put me away. Why the personal visit? Maya's jaw tightened. Because I want to understand. You had a career. Respect. A future. Why throw it all away? Bishop laughed. Harsh. Bitter. You think this is about money? It stopped being about money years ago. It is about power, control, the ability to decide who lives and who dies. He stepped toward her. Your team was not the first we sacrificed, and they were not supposed to be the last. Petrov pays well for American blood, and there is always someone willing to sell. Maya's finger tightened on the trigger. Give me one reason not to end this right now. Bishop smiled. Because you are not an executioner. You are an investigator. You want justice, not revenge. That is what makes you predictable. That is what makes you weak. Maya lowered her weapon. Bishop's smile widened. Then Maya spoke. You are right. I am not an executioner. But they are. Bishop frowned. The front door exploded inward. 4 operators in full tactical gear flooded the room. The same team from the extraction drill. JSOC's finest. Bishop tried to run. He made it 3 steps before they had him on the ground, hands cuffed behind his back, face pressed into the floor. Maya knelt beside him. You were right about one thing, Colonel. I want justice, but justice does not mean I have to do everything myself. She stood. Take him, and get the safe. Everything inside. The operators complied. Bishop was dragged out. Screaming threats, making promises, offering money. No one listened. The third domino fell. and the network crumbled. The next 6 hours were chaos, arrests across 3 countries, 12 officers, 8 contractors, 4 civilian accomplices, bank accounts frozen, evidence seized, testimonies recorded. By dawn, it was over. Maya stood outside JSOC headquarters in Germany. Exhausted. Empty. Done. General Hartley found her there. "It is finished." Maya nodded. "The network is destroyed. Every link, every connection, every person who profited from selling out their own people." Hartley stood beside her. "Stone's court-martial is scheduled for next month. He will spend the rest of his life in military prison. Same with Bishop. Hale and Mercer are cooperating. They will get reduced sentences in exchange for testimony." Maya said nothing. Hartley continued. "The families of Martinez, Thompson, and Reyes have been notified. Posthumous commendations, full military honors, their names will be remembered." Maya's voice cracked. "It does not bring them back. No, it does not. But it means they did not die for nothing. Their sacrifice exposed corruption that had been hidden for years. Because of them, because of you, the system is changing." Maya looked at her. "Is it enough?" Hartley was quiet for a long moment. "It is never enough. It is never over. There will always be people who choose money over duty, power over honor. But what you did matters. It matters because now everyone knows that someone is watching, that ghosts can rise from the dead, that justice, however long it takes, is inevitable." Maya absorbed the words. Then she reached into her pocket, pulled out 2 coins, Cole's seal coin, her own ghost hawk coin. She held them in her palm, felt their weight. "What happens now?" Hartley asked. "I do not know. For 5 years I had one purpose: find the truth, expose the corruption, honor my team. Now that it is done..." She stopped. "I do not know who I am without the mission." Hartley put a hand on her shoulder. "Then find out. Take the time you need. Rest. Heal. And when you are ready, there is a place for you here. Teaching. Training. Passing on what you know to the next generation." Maya pocketed the coins. "Maybe. Someday. The offer stands. Forever." Hartley walked back inside. Maya stood alone in the morning light. Her phone buzzed. A message from Cole. "Heard the news. Congratulations. You did it. Now come home." She typed back. "Where is home?" His reply was immediate. "Wherever you decide it is. But there are people here who want to thank you, and one who owes you a drink." Maya smiled. Faint. Real. She booked a flight. Poland. The camp where it all began. She had unfinished business there. The camp had changed in her absence. New leadership, new protocols, new training focused on accountability and transparency. Stone's office was empty. His name removed from every door. His legacy erased. Maya walked through the grounds, past the parade square where she had been humiliated, past the range where she broke records, past the medical station where she saved Ortiz's life. People recognized her now. They did not laugh. They saluted. She found Webb waiting outside her old quarters, standing at attention. "Captain Chen." "Corporal, at ease." Webb relaxed, but his posture remained formal, respectful. "I wanted to say thank you for not pressing charges, for giving me the chance to make things right." Maya studied him. "What did you do with that chance?" "I testified, Everything Stone ordered, everything I saw, everything I did. Webb's voice was steady. It does not erase what happened, but I hope it helped. It did. Webb reached into his pocket, pulled out the Ghost Hawk coin. You left this? I kept it safe. Figured you would want it back. Maya took the coin, felt its familiar weight. Thank you. Webb nodded, then asked the question he had been carrying for weeks. The tattoo, the hawk, I finally understand what it means. But I have to ask, was it worth it 5 years of pretending to be dead? 5 years of waiting? All for this? Maya looked at the coin, at the hawk etched in metal. My teammates died because someone traded their lives for money. They died believing they had been abandoned, forgotten, betrayed. She looked up at Webb. Now the world knows what happened. Now their families have answers. Now the people responsible are paying for their crimes. Was it worth it? She pocketed the coin. Every single day. She walked away. Webb watched her go, then returned to his duties. A different man than he had been. Changed by what he had witnessed, what he had done, what he had learned. Maya found Cole at the motor pool, same place where she had left him weeks ago. He was leaning against a vehicle, arms crossed, waiting. You came back. You asked me to. Cole straightened, walked toward her. I heard what you did. Bishop, Hale, Mercer, the whole network. 12 arrests across 3 countries. They are calling it the biggest corruption bust in military history. Maya shrugged. They had it coming. That is one way to put it. They stood in silence for a moment. 2 people who understood each other in ways words could not capture. Then Cole spoke. What now? Maya took a breath. Let it out slowly. Hartley offered me a teaching position. Seer School. Training the next generation. Are you going to take it? Maybe. Someday. But first... She pulled out both coins, held them up. First I need to find out who I am when I am not hunting something, when I am not waiting, when I am not pretending to be someone else. Cole nodded. That takes time. I know. It takes help. I know that too. She looked at him. I never thanked you properly. For believing me. For standing with me when you did not have to. For giving me this. She held up his seal coin. You do not have to thank me, Cole said. You saved my life. Everything after that is just balance. Maya shook her head. It is more than that. You saw me. The real me. When everyone else saw a target, a joke, a mascot, you saw a soldier. That matters. More than you know. Cole's voice was rough. You made it easy. You showed us who you really were. We just had to be paying attention. Maya smiled. Nathan. Maya. She handed him back his coin. Keep this. I have mine. And I have something better now. What is that? She looked around the camp, at the soldiers training, at the officers leading, at the system slowly changing because of what she had done. Proof that one person can make a difference, that patience wins, that justice, however long it takes, is always worth fighting for. Cole took the coin, held it tight. So what is next? Maya turned toward the horizon. The sun was setting, golden light spreading across the Polish landscape. Rest, recovery, figuring out who I am, and then, when I am ready, passing on what I know, making sure the next generation of operators knows what it means to serve with honor, to never abandon their own, to never stop fighting for what is right. Cole stood beside her, watching the sunset. Sounds like a plan. It is a start. They stood in silence as the light faded. Two warriors, two survivors, two people who had found something worth fighting for. And behind them in the camp that had witnessed so much, a new generation of soldiers trained, learning, growing, preparing, carrying forward the lessons that Maya Chen had taught them. That appearances deceive, that silence is not weakness, that patience is power, and that some ghosts never rest until their work is done. The hawk had risen, justice had been served, and the legend of Ghost Hawk would echo through military history forever. Not as a story of revenge, but as a testament to what one person could accomplish when they refused to give up, when they refused to be broken, when they chose to rise instead of fall. Maya Chen walked into the fading light, not as a ghost anymore, but as a survivor, a warrior, a legend. And somewhere in the halls of military justice, 3 names were finally honored. Martinez, Thompson, Reyes, silent, lethal, never forgotten. Their sacrifice remembered, their deaths avenged, their legacy eternal. Ghost Hawk never missed a target, especially justice. Some stories end with victory. Some end with peace. This one ends with both. If you stayed until the very end, you understand something important. Heroes are not born. They are forged through fire, through pain, through patience. Maya Chen taught us that the quietest person in the room can be the most dangerous. That the one everyone underestimates can change everything. Hit that subscribe button if this story moved you. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, never judge a book by its cover. Never dismiss someone because they seem weak. Because you never know who is watching, who is waiting, who is ready to rise. Thank you for being part of this journey. Until next time.